Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Appear to move downward. The sun dipped below the horizon. Switch. A car's headlights, from a higher to a lower beam. Dip into a liquid while eating. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. A dip in prices. Immerse briefly into a liquid so as to wet, coat, or saturate. Dip the garment into the cleaning solution. A thief who steals from the pockets or purses of others in public places. Dip into a liquid. He dipped into the pool. Physics. The angle that a magnetic needle makes with the plane of the horizon. A brief swim in water. A brief immersion. A candle that is made by repeated dipping in a pool of wax or tallow. A depression in an otherwise level surface. There was a dip in the road. A gymnastic exercise on the parallel bars in which the body is lowered and raised by bending and straightening the arms. Go down momentarily. Prices dipped. Immerse in a disinfectant solution. Dip the sheep. Lower briefly. She dipped her knee. Place candle wicks into hot, liquid wax. Plunge one's hand or a receptacle into a container. He dipped into his pocket. Scoop up by plunging one's hand or a ladle below the surface. Dip water out of a container. Slope downwards. Our property dips towards the river. Stain an object by immersing it in a liquid. Take a small amount from. I had to dip into my savings to buy him this present. Tasty mixture or liquid into which bite-sized foods are dipped. Fall heavily or suddenly. Decline markedly. Appear to move downward. A depression in the ground communicating with a subterranean passage, especially in limestone, and formed by solution or by collapse of a cavern roof. Fall or descend to a lower place or level. A covered cistern. Wastewater and sewage flow into it. Go under. Pass into a specified state or condition. Fall or sink heavily. Embed deeply. Descend into or as if into some soft substance or place. Cause to sink. Plumbing fixture consisting of a water basin fixed to a wall or floor and having a drain pipe. Technology. A process that acts to absorb or remove energy or a substance from a system. The ocean as a sink for carbon dioxide. Lacking in light, not bright or harsh. A dim light beside the bed. Switch. A car's headlights, from a higher to a lower beam. Make dim by comparison or conceal. Slow to learn or understand. Lacking intellectual acuity. Never met anyone quite so dim. Lacking clarity or distinctness. A dim figure in the distance. Become vague or indistinct. Offering little or no hope. Took a dim view of things. Made dim or less bright. The dimmed house lights brought a hush of anticipation. Become dim or lusterless. The lights dimmed and the curtain rose. Make dim or lusterless. Time had dimmed the silver. Dip into a liquid while eating. She dunked the piece of bread in the sauce. Immerse briefly into a liquid so as to wet, coat, or saturate. A basketball shot in which the basketball is propelled downward into the basket. Make a dunk shot in basketball. He dunked the ball. A shape that is spherical and small. He studied the shapes of low-viscosity drops. Remove, cargo, people, etc., from and leave. Drop off the passengers at the hotel. Grow worse. Fall or descend to a lower place or level. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. A drop of 57 points on the Dow Jones Index. A free and rapid descent by the force of gravity. It was a miracle that he survived the drop from that height. Let or cause to fall in drops. Stop associating with. They dropped her after she had a child out of wedlock. Pay out. A small indefinite quantity, especially of a liquid. He had a drop too much to drink. Get rid of. Cause to fall by or as if by delivering a blow. Hang freely. The light dropped from the ceiling. A steep high face of rock. A steep drop. Stop pursuing or acting. Drop a lawsuit. Leave undone or leave out. A curtain that can be lowered and raised onto a stage from the flies, often used as background scenery. Lower the pitch of musical notes. A central depository where things can be left or picked up. A predetermined hiding place for the deposit and distribution of illicit goods, such as drugs or stolen property. Change from one level to another. She dropped into army jargon. Fall or sink into a state of exhaustion or death. Shop till you drop. Give birth. Used for animals. The cow dropped her calf this morning. Go down in value. Stock prices dropped. Let fall to the ground. Don't drop the dishes. Lose a game. The Giants dropped 11 of their first 13. Omit a letter or syllable in speaking or writing. New Englanders drop their post-vocalic Rs. Take a drug, especially LSD, by mouth. She dropped acid when she was a teenager. Terminate an association with. Drop him from the Republican ticket. The act of dropping something. They expected the drop would be successful. To fall vertically. The bombs are dropping on enemy targets. Utter with seeming casualness. Drop a hint. Move downward and lower, but not necessarily all the way. The barometer is falling. The act of surrendering, usually under agreed conditions. Come into the possession of. When a wrestler's shoulders are forced to the mat. Fall from clouds. Rain, snow and sleet were falling. Lose an upright position suddenly. A sudden decline in strength or number or importance. The fall of the House of Habsburg. Fall or flow in a certain way. Fall to somebody by assignment or lot. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. When that became known, the price of their stock went into free fall. A free and rapid descent by the force of gravity. Touch or seem as if touching visually or audibly. Decrease in size, extent, or range. Come as if by falling. A downward slope or bend. The season when the leaves fall from the trees. In the fall of 1973. The time of day immediately following sunset. They finished before the fall of night. A sudden drop from an upright position. Come under, be classified or included. Fall into a category. Be inherited by. A lapse into sin, a loss of innocence or of chastity. A fall from virtue. A movement downward. The rise and fall of the tides. Assume a disappointed or sad expression. Be born, used chiefly of lambs. Be captured. Be cast down. Be due. Payments fall on the first of the month. Begin vigorously. Come out. Issue. Descend in free fall under the influence of gravity. Die, as in battle or in a hunt. Several deer have fallen to the same gun. Drop oneself to a lower or less erect position. Go as if by falling. Lose office or power. Lose one's chastity. A fallen woman. Move in a specified direction. The line of men fall forward. Occur at a specified time or place. Christmas falls on a Monday this year. Pass suddenly and passively into a state of body or mind. Fall into a trap. Slope downward. The hills around here fall towards the ocean. Suffer defeat, failure, or ruin. We must stand or fall. The lapse of mankind into sinfulness because of the sin of Adam and Eve. To be given by assignment or distribution. To be given by right or inheritance. Yield to temptation or sin. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. When that became known, the price of their stock went into free fall. The ideal falling motion of something subject only to a gravitational field. Slacken. Douse a rope. Put out, as of a candle or a light. Cover with liquid. Pour liquid onto. Immerse briefly into a liquid so as to wet, coat, or saturate. Dip into a liquid. Wet thoroughly. Lower quickly. Douse a sail. Cause to be immersed. The professor plunged his students into the study of the Italian text. Begin with vigor. She plunged into a dangerous adventure. Immerse briefly into a liquid so as to wet, coat, or saturate. Drop steeply. The stock market plunged. Thrust or throw into. Fall abruptly. It plunged to the bottom of the well. Devote oneself fully to. A brief swim in water. A steep and rapid fall. Dash violently or with great speed or impetuosity. She plunged at it eagerly. A person who drinks alcohol to excess habitually. Become drunk or drink excessively. Cover with liquid. Pour liquid onto. Souse water on his hot face. Immerse briefly into a liquid so as to wet, coat, or saturate. The act of making something completely wet. Cook in a marinade. Souse herring. Pork trimmings chopped and pickled and gelled. A thief who steals from the pockets or purses of others in public places. A thief who steals from the pockets or purses of others in public places. Avoid or try to avoid fulfilling, answering, or performing duties, questions, or issues. Cricket. A score of nothing by a batsman. Dip into a liquid. A heavy cotton fabric of plain weave, used for clothing and tents. Flesh of a duck, domestic or wild. Small wild or domesticated web-footed broad-billed swimming bird usually having a depressed body and short legs. Submerge or plunge suddenly. To move, the head or body, quickly downwards or away. Before he could duck, another stone struck him. Physics. The angle that a magnetic needle makes with the plane of the horizon. Geometry. The angle formed by the x-axis and a given line, measured counterclockwise from the positive half of the x-axis. An attitude of mind, especially one that favors one alternative over others. He had an inclination to give up too easily. Astronomy. The angle between the plane of the orbit and the plane of the ecliptic stated in degrees. The property possessed by a line or surface that departs from the vertical. He walked with a heavy inclination to the right. A characteristic likelihood of or natural disposition toward a certain condition or character or effect. The alkaline inclination of the local waters. Physics. The angle that a magnetic needle makes with the plane of the horizon. The act of inclining, bending forward. An inclination of his head indicated his agreement. That toward which you are inclined to feel a liking. Her inclination is for classical music. Physics. The angle that a magnetic needle makes with the plane of the horizon. Physics. The angle that a magnetic needle makes with the plane of the horizon. Grow worse. A condition inferior to an earlier condition, a gradual falling off from a better state. Go down in value. Show unwillingness towards. He declined to join the group on a hike. Refuse to accept. A downward slope or bend. A gradual decrease, as of stored charge or current. Grow smaller. Change toward something smaller or lower. Go down. The roof declines here. Inflect for number, gender, case, etc. In many languages, speakers decline nouns, pronouns, and adjectives. Increase or decrease in intensity. Cause to be immersed. Thrust or throw into. Enclose or envelop completely, as if by swallowing. Devote oneself fully to. He immersed himself into his studies. A process of becoming smaller or shorter. The act of decreasing or reducing something. Decrease in size, extent, or range. The amount of homework decreased towards the end of the semester. A change downward. There was a decrease in his temperature as the fever subsided. Make smaller. He decreased his staff. The amount by which something decreases. A process of becoming smaller or shorter. The amount by which something decreases. A criminal who takes property belonging to someone else with the intention of keeping it or selling it. A criminal who takes property belonging to someone else with the intention of keeping it or selling it. A biased way of looking at or presenting something. Seek indirectly. Present with a bias. To incline or bend from a vertical position. A member of a Germanic people who conquered England and merged with the Saxons and Jutes to become Anglo-Saxons. Fish with a hook. Move or proceed at an angle. He angled his way into the room. The space between two lines or planes that intersect. The inclination of one line to another, measured in degrees or radians. The act of swimming. It was the swimming they enjoyed most. Filled or brimming with tears. Swimming eyes. Applied to a fish depicted horizontally. The act of swimming. It was the swimming they enjoyed most. Be covered with or submerged in a liquid. The meat was swimming in a fatty gravy. Be afloat either on or below a liquid surface and not sink to the bottom. Be dizzy or giddy. My brain is swimming after the bottle of champagne. Move as if gliding through water. This snake swims through the soil where it lives. Travel through water. We had to swim for 20 minutes to reach the shore. Sinking until covered completely with water. Sinking until covered completely with water. The act of wetting something by submerging it. Complete attention. Intense mental effort. Astronomy, the disappearance of a celestial body prior to an eclipse. Sinking until covered completely with water. A form of baptism in which part or all of a person's body is submerged. The act of wetting something by submerging it. Sinking until covered completely with water.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.